Human relationships define us, inspire us, and sometimes even destroy us. They're the invisible threads that hold the fabric of our lives together. But what happens when those threads weaken or break? Taoism teaches us that life flows in constant change. Therefore, the art of letting go is central to finding peace within ourselves and with others. To see this in action, let's look at the life of Julius Caesar, one of the greatest figures in ancient history, whose rise and fall were defined by the relationships he forged. Born into a patrician family in Rome, Caesar's ambition alone couldn't guarantee his success. He needed allies. He formed a political alliance with two of the most powerful men of his time, Pompey the Great, a celebrated general, and Crassus, the wealthiest man in Rome. Together, they built the first triumvirate, a partnership that helped Caesar rise to unprecedented power. But as is often the case, ambition and envy can poison even the strongest relationships. Over time, tensions grew between Caesar and Pompey. What was once an alliance turned into rivalry, leading to a devastating civil war. Even more tragic was Caesar's personal betrayal. He placed his trust in Brutus, a man he treated like a son. On the Ides of March, that trust was shattered when Brutus joined the conspiracy to assassinate him. Caesar's last words, "Et tu, Brute," which means, "Even you, Brutus," capture the heartbreak of betrayal by someone he deeply cared for. When we form bonds with others, whether through family, friendship, or work, we tend to invest emotionally, attaching ourselves to the other person and the idea of how they should be. We want them to act in certain ways as we fear losing them. When things change, as they inevitably do, we may resist the shift and experience. This only causes pain, disappointment, or frustration. The Taoist perspective, however, invites us to embrace change in relationships rather than fight it. Just as we may experience emotional highs with friends or family members, those feelings are not permanent. The emotional landscape of any relationship can shift sometimes for reasons we understand, and sometimes without clear explanation. A friend may drift away. A family member may change. Or we may realize that our values no longer align with those of others. The natural response in many cases is to hold on tightly, to try to make things the way they once were. But the Tao teaches us that holding on too tightly only causes pain. In the Taoist text Zhuangzi, there's a story about a tax collector, Pi Kung Shi, who achieved great success by not forcing anything. He explains, "I bid farewell to what goes, I greet what comes, for what comes cannot be denied, and what goes cannot be detained." This attitude of yielding, of letting go and moving with life's flow, is the essence of Taoism. In relationships, it means acknowledging that people come into our lives and leave for reasons we might not always understand, but that doesn't diminish their value or the lessons we've learned from them. When we try to force relationships to stay the same, we may become emotionally rigid, like someone who refuses to let go of a rock and a river. The flow of life passes us by, and we're stuck holding on to something that's already gone. Taoism teaches us that this resistance makes us hard and brittle, unable to adapt or move forward. By letting go, we stay soft, flexible, and open to the next phase of life, with new people, new experiences, and new lessons. The idea is to accept the impermanence of all relationships, no matter how close we are to someone, no matter how much they've meant to us. We must recognize that the connection may shift or end. When we resist this, we suffer. When we accept it, we open ourselves up to the present moment and the opportunities that lie ahead. The act of letting go in relationships doesn't mean we stop caring about people. It means we stop clinging to them in a way that restricts both our growth and theirs. When someone drifts away from our lives, we might initially feel a sense of loss. But in time, we may come to see that this separation has opened up space for new connections, new experiences, and new paths that are better suited to our evolving self. This is not a rejection of the past, but an acceptance of life's natural rhythm. Instead of holding on to the past, we can learn to greet what comes and bid farewell to what goes, trusting that life will bring new opportunities, new connections, and new phases of growth. The pain of letting go can be inevitable, but it is also a part of the process of personal growth and learning to embrace change. By allowing relationships to evolve naturally, we free ourselves from the unnecessary burden of control and resistance. We embrace the present moment, knowing that every interaction has a purpose and that life's flow will always bring us what we need when we are open to it. We can honor the time we've spent with someone, appreciate what they brought into our lives, and still move forward without bitterness or regret. Life is a series of ebbs and flows, and by learning to let go, we allow ourselves to be carried with the current instead of fighting it.